Left at the Door, a podcast and vlog where we, a group of friends, get together and we talk about the things that we left at the door in order to love, grow, succeed, and survive. So we have Tat with us.
What's happening?
Tat part 2.
Yay!
If you have stumbled upon this, and you've not already seen Tat part 1, slow down, stop,
take a pause, go back. Yeah.
It's good shit.
This
is good shit part 2.
Yes, give me some.
Part 2.
I was gonna go pop, but
Pop
you
out?
told me not to touch the
Not
table.
to tap, not to slam drinks. That's okay.
Yeah.
Spencer's the one that pays for those decisions.
That's my boy. Spencer's back there doing his thing. I'm sorry. Yes, introductions. I'm Tat.
Yeah.
It's part 2.
This is Tat. So we're not going to introduce you because everybody better already know who you are.
Yeah, it's true.
They should
kind of a
already
big
know
deal.
who I am. Okay.
Yeah, even outside of Central Illinois.
If you don't know, you need to check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Yeah.
I think that was a jail sentence. I don't know. I don't
go to jail often?
I've never been to jail. And I don't plan to.
What was it like when you met Grandpa?
What was it like when you met my grandpa?
Right now?
Listen, we were
Is that an inside?
we were scoping out questions.
Oh, okay.
And we had all this list of things like, what would you say to your 5-year-old self, and who inspires you? And then it was, what was it?
What do you remember from the first time you met Grandpa? Like,
What?
where did this go? Was there a time you didn't like me?
That was the next one. So
What? Right now?
Yeah,
No, I'm
so
just kidding.
just real awkward, weird.
awkward things.
At first I was like, oh, these are good. And then
Some
it's like,
questions, and then they
these
got
are
real weird real
Yeah.
quick.
That's why you can't get your Christmas from the internet.
So what did you think of my grandpa then?
Your grandpa?
Yeah, what did you
He's
think of
pretty
him?
fantastic.
I know, he was a
could do the
good
splits.
dude.
he was.
Like
he was
James
a good
Brown.
dude.
He was a good dude.
Just like, probably.
He's
He
very
did have
limber.
good music taste.
He's a very limber dude.
Okay.
Look at that.
walked a lot.
So
What is happening here?
I wasn't in the first
You did miss out on that.
episode.
This wasn't even in the
So,
first.
No, this is coming
now
out of
we're
the
in
randomness.
second.
Okay.
It's coming out of the ether.
Let's talk what's going
Yeah,
on here,
okay,
Kat.
okay. Bring it
Talk to us.
really back in.
Okay.
Okay, reel it back in.
Okay.
Teen pregnancy.
Okay, let's talk
Oh,
about
no.
that.
Let's talk about
Let's
teens.
talk about it.
Do you impregnate a lot of teens?
No, I did not.
Wait, you're not Nick Cannon?
No, Nick Cannon has
It's not the weirdest
You were
thing.
Nick Cannon.
I
Time
literally
out.
just kept reading those articles about all these women, and I was like,
What's going on?
I just really want to
don't
know
read-
what he's.
I don't read
I
news.
was
got,
sad
like,
that he
6
lost his son.
That was horrific.
Yeah, that was.
That
Yes.
was horrific.
Wait, what's going on?
He impregnated like 7 women, maybe?
Yeah.
7
Within a
women, like
year?
all at the same
Within a
time.
year, yeah.
He was going to start like a dynasty of sorts.
Oh, do you just like stack them on top of each other?
I think he did.
Nick Cannon.
I'm sure that's what it was. I don't know whether that detail was an E or
Spencer,
TMZ.
can you put a diagram of that? Have that flash up on the screen for us?
Don't put it up. Keep it down.
So all these babies, and
Spencer's
then
like,
but one of
what
them did pass
is my
away.
life out
Yeah,
of?
which
Yeah,
is
it's
sad.
like brain cancer. It's
Yeah.
horrible.
From what?
Brain cancer.
Oh.
It's horrific.
Oh.
God, this
Okay,
is
let's
some
bring
feel
it
good
back
shit.
up.
Again, yes. So
No, I was one of those teens that will be the last person to impregnate anyone. Okay, I was super. You know how many times I cried when I found out I was going to be a dad? This was my senior year at MacArthur High School. Oh, I was not planning that.
Yeah.
Senior year was going great. And body rocking, knocking the boots happened.
And then it got
And then-
even
And
better.
it got even better.
Anyone who's never
Nah.
been a teen parent.
Oh,
but it is good that you talk
can
about that
imagine.
though, because I mean,
yeah.
most people just assume dudes are like meh, blasé about it.
Yep.
No, I want
Not
to.
my problem.
But that's where the sex ed needs to come in the house. My parents never talked about sex
How
or
do you-
relationships.
How do you feel MacArthur's sex ed program
Well,
did?
back then, it was my track and field coach,
Uh-huh.
and it was terrible.
What do
I
you
didn't know what was
say?
going on.
Don't stick it in anybody and
They
you'll be
just said
fine.
don't have sex.
Yeah.
And that's not
That's-
happening as a teenage boy.
No.
Right.
We're
Or
trying to-
girl.
Or
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the things like cyclically we're trying to break is like teaching even my daughter who's 5
Safe sex.
and teaching her that sex isn't something that happens to you.
Or that
No.
it's like
You're allowed to
or that
enjoy
it's
it.
taboo.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that there's it's not laced
Absolutely.
with guilt and shame.
Uh-huh.
No,
And
it's going to happen. It has happened. It
Uh-huh.
will forever and always happen. So why can we be well equipped when?
Seriously.
Yeah.
Do you guys watch the sex ed show on Netflix?
No, but I want to now.
Okay.
Sex ed.
It's so I think it takes place in like somewhere over the UK.
Oh yeah, no, I watched that show. It is real.
It is, and
No kids should be around when you turn it on.
that is true.
Yeah, it's super
Yeah,
sexy.
It is. It is
It's sexy
My
time.
God, it
Maybe
is.
I have.
It's really good.
I've
My
watched a couple
sister and my
episodes.
brother-in-law
Yeah.
watched it, and then they were like, "Oh my God, this is Cassie and Jack's relationship," because it is a mother and a son. So the mother is like this like sex therapist and stuff.
She's a sex guru.
Yeah, she's a sex guru.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the kid is like, just has all these conversations because that's how he grew up of just like, this is just normal. Like, these are body parts, these are things. And oh my God.
He helps his classmates.
He does.
Like what they don't learn in school, he started like a little like counseling for the high school peers, you know.
Oh, I'm gonna add that to my
You
list.
should.
You
Oh,
were gonna
it's
have
just-
to add that.
it's
I
the
haven't
whole
seen
gamut.
it either.
But I was watching that this weekend and I was like, everything is just so conversational. Like,
Yes.
it's not, I mean, just,
You shouldn't be weird about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sex is fantastic.
Everyone should get to enjoy it.
Yes.
But then when it makes it weird, then it's like, then people just don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And I feel like also, Jesse, like in your line of business, you talk about how sometimes you hear more conversations and get asked more questions than what a doctor or an OBGYN will ever get asked.
100%. I have
Talk a
people.
little bit about
So
that.
true.
I have people say things to me, and I'll say, "Well, have you talked to a doctor about that?" "Oh no, I would never." I'm like, "You need to talk to a doctor about the fact that
This is
every
happening.
time you orgasm, you get a blinding headache. That's a thing you should discuss."
Absolutely.
Or they have a partner with performance issues. Well, I'm not going to ask you what medication they're on because I'm not a medical professional, but you know that could play a part in it, right? And it's nice to be somewhere that someone feels safe to say those
absolutely.
things.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's in our policies and procedures, like your default answer is talk to your medical professional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I have people tell me things that they have never told their partner, especially specifically like trauma related things. Or like, I've never said this to anybody
It's getting
before.
real now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I think about like, people think my job is just this fun, like I just have parties and sell vibrators and all that.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, it is a groundbreaking thing to have someone come to you with a problem that is deeply affecting their relationships,
Yes.
their, you know, their sense of self, and be able to fix that. And it's like, this is why I do it.
Absolutely.
This is why I do it, for those moments where I know that I'm making like a massive impact. And not just on the woman or the client, but on whoever she's in a relationship with currently or next, you know.
Yeah.
Man, this is
But it is
great
really depressing though to think that like that you're dealing with adults at that stage.
Yeah.
But like we don't get that when I'm trying to think about maybe it was junior high that because we went to Sullivan together. I feel like it was junior high. We had like maybe 1 week of sex ed class.
Yeah,
they try to
it was part of
check
health.
market. That's my thing
It was
about-
part of health class.
I'm literally thinking the only walk away I had was I assumed that everyone had genital lice. Okay? Everyone. It was like running fucking rampant in the streets. Okay.
Yeah.
Of Sullivan.
If you Sullivan. If you
Wow.
In the streets of
in the
Sullivan,
streets
they
of
got it
Sullivan,
real out
yes.
there,
you know,
real
it was so
nasty.
real. And then
You were tight ankle jeans, and you're gonna end up with it too.
Don't jump in that puddle. It might
I know, right? And elephantitis.
Yeah, it was
Those
always
were
the
the-
worst case scenarios,
Right.
like in those classes.
Yeah,
you know,
not
they
the
try-
real stuff.
No,
Not-
no. Also from health class though, I don't do hard drugs because I would be the statistic the first time I tried meth.
Jesse,
it
this
stops
is
my
why I
heart.
don't do marijuana. I'll be the one that overdoses on
It gets
marijuana. I'll be
laced
like,
marijuana. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang it.
No, see now you buy it in a dispensary and you know that it's not laced with
Yeah.
shit.
yeah.
See, it's
Yes.
safe now. But I'm with you. Like, no thanks. I won't be having any of that ecstasy. It sounds delightful, but
Right.
Yes, but
Enjoy.
but what
Yeah.
if
I don't want to be that guy.
No.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, what happened?
he was such a good
Such a
kid?
good kid.
He made one terrible decision and now he's boop, dead.
No,
Yeah.
no. But those type of conversations, like my sex ed came from my friends who were idiots, who just
Who knew
made stuff
nothing.
up.
Who knew
Right.
high school
Pull
boys were
out
idiots?
game.
Oh yeah, you're
Yeah.
You gotta be, your pull out game has to be on point. Like, what the f- are you
Yeah.
talking about?
What does that even mean?
What does that even mean? And you pretend because, of course,
You're
you're
like,
at that
oh, okay.
age, you don't want to be the out.
No,
You know, like,
you don't want to be the
oh.
one that's like, I don't know what. Can you tell me what? Can you just show me a picture real quick of what
Diagram
that
that.
is?
Yes.
I don't understand.
Pull out game. Give me
Yeah.
directions. Yeah. So it was one of those things that I was 15 when I lost my virginity. 15. That's 16-year-old.
That's
And I'm like, what was I doing?
Yeah.
And even then, I'm like, man, I'm getting too old. I'm an old version.
Yeah.
Because it's, your friends make it seem like it's normal, and you feel like you're behind, and it's something that you have to do. But these aren't the conversations that adults have.
I had the opposite experience. My best friend in high school, she and I we both had serious boyfriends. And told each other, it was very serious.
Very
and
serious.
we lied to each other and told each other we were not having sex. And we were. Yes. And then we had a sleepover one night, and the third girl that was there mentioned something, and we were both like, yeah, me too. She's like, what the fuck, you didn't tell me? Like, you didn't tell me either. What the hell?
Because it's frowned upon, especially
we
our
promised our boyfriends we wouldn't tell anybody, but guess what they did?
Oh, dudes, we telling
everybody.
Even if it didn't happen. I know some dudes.
Oh, yeah.
That's true too.
Yeah. I've been the victim of that.
Yeah.
And they won't say it, but they'll
Well, I'm not going to say it happened.
You know what I'm saying? Give me some dirt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So how has that changed though? So if you didn't feel like you really had good information, how old's your daughter now?
We have a 19-year-old and a 16-year-old.
Okay. So how has that changed your perspective on having teenagers?
Yeah, how do you talk to them?
How do you talk?
When people ask when I had the sex talk, I had the sex talk with Terriana when she was old enough to comprehend. When she came in, I was always very transparent.
Yes.
With everything. So the things that I wasn't taught directly, from sex ed to financial literacy and stuff, I've always had an open and honest conversation with my kids. Because that's what I needed.
Yeah.
It was more so, especially in black families, like, don't be asking about my personal business, about finances, or I ain't about to talk about sex.
Yeah.
Now I know. Like, you can't have company, keep the door open.
Exactly.
Nobody's going in the basement.
What's that conversation like? Because I know, me and my husband would talk about it now that I know you have daughters.
Yeah.
Which one of us should tell them? How was it? Did you
Give Andrea the sex talk.
Give me the sex talk.
Pretend she's six.
Pretend I'm six.
This is the sex talk. Boys are bad.
I like that.
Age appropriate. Yes.
So get into your
trying to get into
like
your
lice.
So did you feel, knowing that you had to talk to your daughter, did you feel uncomfortable
Like crossing
doing
the
it?
gender barrier?
Exactly.
I felt comfortable because I know, I shouldn't have been a teen parent.
Right.
I feel like with me and Terriana, especially, we grew up together. I was 18.
Be like, this is cool.
Yeah.
You're cool. I'm glad you're here, but don't do that.
It.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's the talk of she like a boy or whatever, or she'll ask, where does babies come from? You have an open, honest conversation. They come from vaginas.
They sure do.
All right. Women are actual gods and
We
goddesses.
create life.
We create life. We're only here for the fun part.
And you don't even have to be, really.
And you don't have to be. And that's true, yeah. You don't have to
We
be.
don't even need you.
Don't even need us, fellas. We gotta step our games up in life.
Yeah, you earned that position.
Yeah. So those type of conversations. So when she would ask, where does the baby come from? You don't make up.
Charlie got an impromptu sex education 2 days ago.
Yay.
I was so mad. Dustin laid down for a nap and turned on South Park. And Charlie was napping too. So everyone's napping in their own beds.
I got questions.
And I come in and I'm listening to Butters explain. Butters is explaining when the penis gets hard and they puts it in the vagina and then he spits in there and all of this is happening. And my kids know what the names of genitals are. So I would guarantee up to that point a penis going inside a vagina had never crossed her mind.
Yeah.
But she's laying there on the floor with her blankie just watching cartoons while daddy sleeps. And I came in and I was like, oh God, make it stop. Where's the remote? Charlie, get up, get out of here.
Because kids comprehend. And
and they're sponges.
They're
They
sponges.
absorb
And I told
it all.
Dustin, I was like, I'm
Forever
so
and always.
upset.
That's going to be her sex life.
Yes.
I learned from South Park.
Learn from Butter.
Okay, time out though.
Butters.
Can I just say, sometimes in my experiences with Jack, who's 12, I think that it is easier when he has an outside experience
That you can then edit.
yes, and then piggyback off of. I don't know. In our experience, it's always been like that. He'll be like, so-and-so said this, or I saw this on TV,
Yes.
or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, hold on. That's not real. So let's talk about this. And I think it kind of twofold teaches him also just how skewed up media portrays relationships, sex, intimacy, all
And
of
you
that.
guys have such a trusting relationship that he knows he can say, one, I heard this.
Yeah.
And when you say,
You guys are all the sexy.
Yeah.
what?
When you see the show, you'll be like, that is them.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You guys
And
are that.
then also when you go, not really, he goes, okay, mom, and like believes that.
Yeah.
But that's a long time cultivating that.
Yeah.
Totally.
It doesn't start at puberty.
But I will say, you know, like with Charlie being 5 and hearing Butters and all that stuff, I can remember Jack, it would have been pre-K, I think it was. And a little boy just kept...
She's reminiscing. She went somewhere, right?
Yeah.
He did. And he just kept telling Jack at preschool, it's so much fun.
To flick it?
Yes.
No, it's not.
Well, did he not
So
do
he
that
comes
already?
home, and no. And
Mom,
he
I'm
comes
practicing
home,
something.
and he was like,
It's
"But that's
supposed to
what it
be
was."
fun.
He goes, "This is not fun."
It hurts.
Yeah, and I was like, "Why would you do that? Don't do that, please." I was like, "Nothing." Does
Yeah.
anything? So I flicked him in the face. I go, "Does that feel good?" No, nothing getting flicked
Yeah,
feels
why
good.
would
Don't do
you
that to
flick?
any of your body parts,
The most
okay?
sensitive part. You can brush up against our genitals. Oh my God.
So I
don't
just
take
I
much.
tossed the remote to Dustin and it landed 2
A
blankets.
grown man, big butt, you tossing and hit us.
He's like, I was like, oops, sorry.
Right.
Yeah, it don't
So then
take
it was
much.
like lesson learned.
A hard
Yeah.
breeze with
Your
him.
peers know nothing.
Jimmy just jerks, stretches, he pulls on it.
Yeah,
It's
you gotta stop your sons from doing that sometimes because they will be rough, especially babies.
Oh, and he came up, it was a couple months ago. He showed Dad how he can make it red. And Dustin's like, cool. What the fuck do I
man.
say so I don't scar this kid for life
Yes.
and give him problems, give him insecurities about his
Insecurities, yeah.
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 It's
Hey,
like,
good job,
hey,
son.
buddy, go do that in your bedroom. No one else wants to see it when it's like that. Like, this is private.
gets red.
It gets red.
Hot tamale, I call it. Yeah.
And he's uncircumcised, so there's extra stuff to
Oh
play
my
with.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great fun for him.
It's
Yeah.
great fun for him.
It's funny, like when we go to the doctor's visit, my son just had his 15-month visit. And I'm always asking, so is the penis good? Is
Penis
it-"
good.
It's everything normal.
And then the always like the dads are always worried about the penis stuff.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
never ask, like, is her vulva all right?
Yeah.
Does everything look
It's
cool
a
in
dad
there?
thing. It's just
Maybe.
Is
It
his
doesn't look
penis looking
infected, so
right?
it's fine.
Right, exactly. That's like the worst.
It looks healthy.
okay.
It
Like
looks
he's on the
everything-
chart development, but what about his penis
Yeah.
development?
When do you start
Is it-
measuring that?
When where's the scale on that?
Yeah.
It does, okay. Well, maybe
Yeah.
you guys should factor that in.
So do you think you're going to start teaching sex ed?
I do incorporate it in my mentoring.
That's what I
like, with the young men who just have a skewed view on relationships.
Yeah.
Oh
Where'd they
my
get
And
that?
intimacy.
And
I think
intimacy
there
in
is like
general.
a real fucked up view of
Oh,
intimacy.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like these, because they only have, like I had, each other to bounce off of. You know, nobody's actually having that talk. And sadly, a lot of the young men that I mentor, either mom or dad, are in toxic relationships. So they see that as the norm.
Yeah.
You know, because you get your references from the house first and foremost.
You
Starts
you
at home.
teach your kids by modeling.
Oh,
so
100%.
they're learning by watching what you
So
do.
if they think that
Yeah.
that's what a guy is supposed to do, that's affection towards your mom or vice versa.
Right. Or the
Or
lack
lack
thereof.
of.
The lack
Right.
of.
Mhm. Right.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about this in a different episode.
Yeah.
Because today, like that we're recording this, is literally our 1-year anniversary.
Hey,
Season one.
what?
It is.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, but
They
we
should have brought cupcakes
I
or
know,
something.
right?
Champagne or something.
Ooh, I like the way you
Yeah.
think.
I
Some
know.
champagne.
Should have got a
There
little
we go.
tipsy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the day is young.
That is
Yeah,
true.
what you got in this
Lunch
tea?
hour.
Wait,
I
it's
know.
5 o'clock somewhere.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
It
And
is.
I'm ready to.
Yeah.
is.
It's
I
quarter
couldn't
after
be
somewhere.
wrong with- Never mind.
What's your drink of choice?
I'm a wine drinker.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
sweet.
Sweet, yeah.
Oh,
Candy
me too.
wine?
Yeah,
Yeah.
juice
I don't
wine.
do like
Yeah.
the fancy
Chardonnay,
snatchy wine, like
no.
the drug.
No, I went Arbor
Drink
Mist.
system wine.
Something with a screw top is usually good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice and sweet.
Yeah.
Now
Nice,
we know.
sweet, and cheap.
That's how you like them.
Yeah, just like I like them. You know it. nice, sweet, and
Go back to talking about intimacy.
Oh, intimacy.
That's right.
That's where we were.
Intimacy,
Yeah.
toxic
And
relationships.
the toxicity in those type of environments.
You started to say we talked about it on another episode.
Yes.
Well, just how 2020, COVID, everything getting shut down, like has really broke apart people's relationships.
Yeah.
Like the number of people that are in toxic everything.
Yes.
Family relationships, dynamics, marital
Friendships.
all these things. I just think intimacy in general is so skewed.
I don't think people know what it is.
I don't think
Yeah.
it is either.
It's
Yeah.
what do they call the hookup generation now?
Yeah.
But I think it's a positive and a negative in the sense of when individuals are just trying to have a good time. Now they can meet at the same place without there being a confusion of what it is.
Yep.
Without the confusion of what are we.
As long as the conversation is had, though.
Yeah.
But think
Yeah.
about like
Now you got apps for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
right.
all
You
here to hook
assume
up.
exactly.
Yeah,
You
right.
assume if you're on this app, you're just here for the physical stuff.
And that's what that's why I like what the new generation is. They don't give a shit. And they're open and honest. And these young people are all about authenticity.
And we're
And
kind of they're given permission to have a relationship that's just sex.
That's-
And as long as you're safe and everyone it's consensual,
And
there's
that's what it
nothing
is.
wrong with that.
Without the BS of being in an unhappy relationship or an unhappy marriage.
right.
The traditional growing up, like we had a child together, so therefore we need to be married.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? All of that is going to this generation. Like, I ain't doing none of that.
Nope.
I'd much rather be happy than to be in a situation where we're just doing it for the kids.
And they get to still enjoy this major part of the human experience
Absolutely.
and explore their sexuality without this idea that like
Stigma.
I'm gonna find one person.
One person.
I'm
and
sorry.
this one person
You-
that I'm 16
At
years
20,
old
yeah.
is going to be the person I spend the rest of my life with.
One penis forever.
Let's
This
think
This
about
guy I
that.
lost my virginity to is the
Right.
one.
Can
Yeah.
you think about?
I thought that when I was 16, but I was stupid.
And I don't think you're stupid. And
Oh, I
It's
was, though.
generational.
I think
but that is
it's-
pressed upon you of like the
Yeah.
fall in love you're gonna fall in love with this person.
And
this
your
person
virginity is sacred.
Or
Oh,
you're
yes.
this person.
I told my
Yeah.
daughter, we had this conversation. I said, you can explore and just be safe.
Yeah.
Your virginity,
That's a bullshit construct.
do not feel forced to have to be with someone just because you've had sex with them.
Yeah.
Period.
I remember my first relationship. I thought that was my forever. My mom
we all
said, my mom, and I love my mom and aunts because my sex ed was my mom and aunts. It's never taught in school in Guyana.
Your mom and Tat would teach the most kick-ass,
Oh
hilarious
my
class.
gosh.
Barbara has the best dating advice.
Yes.
Like
Because it's
Yeah.
honest.
She
It's
told
straight
me,
to the
no,
point.
honey, he's
gonna
just
meet.
he's your first, but he may not be your forever.
Yes.
So you're gonna meet somebody
Just
else,
enjoy-
you know.
thank God.
And then
they're not.
thank you.
Thank you,
God.
Jesus.
She's I've learned so much. That woman is so strong. But the conversation, just listening, get
Yes.
a group of women, and they didn't just politely tell you things. They were blunt, like real raw, tell you things. You listen, you're going like, oh my God. But they were keeping it real.
Yes.
They were, and I love that.
Yes.
I love if you can just sit down to your sons and daughter. Don't sugarcoat it.
No.
You are
Tell
always
them.
more uncomfortable than your child is.
Oh,
I
yes.
definitely learned that as well.
Absolutely.
Like,
But I don't know why. They knew I was there. They knew I'm listening. But then sometimes they'll be like, okay, this conversation is too adult. You need to go to your room and
Now
stuff.
we're just
And
doing personal
right,
stuff.
they
We're not-
know how to control that conversation. They know when I need to listen and when I not need to listen.
Yes.
So I was there for all of that. And it taught me. I mean, I did some bad choices in
Hey,
relationships.
we all did.
Oh my
Hey,
God, we all
listen.
do. We all have to learn.
I've lived.
But
Yes.
let me just,
Okay.
I'm gonna be blunt, honest. I lose
I
my
lived.
I lose my virginity at 21 because I waited.
Hey,
And my mom,
There's
I'm
not at
like,
all.
yeah, there was nothing wrong. And like my mom said, he's not your first one. You know?
Right.
And I did marry the guy I lose my virginity to.
How'd
but
that
then
work out, though?
that didn't work out.
Yes.
But
Right.
hey, You know?
You live.
But there's
I
nothing
live.
wrong with that path either.
No,
Like,
that's-
exactly.
That's
Yeah.
if that's what feels right to you. My problem with it is people being guilted into not experiencing something they're desperate to experience because of religion or whatever.
Yes.
Or people are given incorrect information
Yeah.
and they're doing
now
it
that-
dangerously.
Now
Right.
that's once again that's what I got from my buddies. Was the dangerous, unsafe,
As long as she's on top, she won't get pregnant.
yeah,
Shit
no,
like
something
that.
like that.
Yeah.
It was so. Oh my god.
Some of it's even more horrific, though.
Yeah.
Some of it is like
You can get pregnant from a blowjob.
that.
I've
Right.
heard that.
This
I've
is
heard it
false,
all.
by the way.
This is, yeah.
Yes, I've heard some of the students. I really believe that. Like, oh, that makes sense because gravity.
Yeah.
That's the law. Yeah.
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 Yeah, but this is what happens when people aren't, once again, authentic, and you teach before anybody else from the internet, from buddies who don't know anything.
See, we didn't have that. Think about
Yeah.
that. I mean, we are of a generation with cell phones,
Yeah.
but I mean,
I didn't get on the
we
internet and
Google.
Google.
We
what
didn't
is-
Google that.
No.
We never, our
Even
kids
Google
now.
know
No,
what
it
it is.
Oh my
exist.
gosh,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because Jack still hasn't Googled Blumpkin for some reason.
I know. We had a pumpkin on front, and he painted this geode monster on it. And he goes, "Look, Mom." I was like, "That's pretty cool, dude." And he's like, "Yeah, I named him Blumpkin.
What?
Oh no.
Let's change
Let's
his
change his
name."
name.
Yeah.
No. Let's change.
May your day be filled with giggles. The place to come for cards and gifts. Personalized just for you. Come and try our tasty treats. They will leave you giggling too. Oh, the brightest spot on Merchant Street will leave you happy and complete. May your day be filled with giggles.
Hi, I'm Sarah and I'm the owner of Bad Love Creative Co. I'm a photographer that services both Central Illinois and Chicago areas. This year has been incredibly difficult for me. I've had lots of cancellations due to shutdown. Prairie Commons Business Collective has helped me bring awareness to my clients. The marketing has let people know that I'm still here and I'm taking clients. I'm taking social distancing measures and that is how my photo shoots go. Prairie Commons Business Collective has really helped to get more clients and to reach new people. One of the things I love most about Prairie Commons Business Collective is that there's a place for everybody, which is something I value most. It's a community of people of all business types. So whether you're a crafter or a photographer like me, or even a furniture maker, there's a place for you.
Jimmy's new thing right now is, Mom, will you pinch my nipple?
What is happening here?
He sucks his thumb and pulls on his right nipple when he's tired. He just pulls on it.
That's gonna be a thing when he gets older.
They're mismatched now. This one, they're different shapes from the pulling on the nipple.
Oh.
Dang.
And he'll get all hyper and weird and be like, ah, Mom, pinch my nipple. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that, buddy.
not gonna do
He
that.
goes, I'll pinch your nipple.
Don't
buddy,
do that.
Don't do
I
that
would
either.
prefer not.
No.
Yeah.
How about you just keep pinching your own nipple?
Kids are something else.
They
are
are.
something else, and it's truly innocent.
Yeah. They're both just so weird.
Yeah.
Both of my kids.
I wonder where they get it from.
I don't know. Charlie was
Yeah.
French kissing Rose Baby this morning, just licking her face.
Yeah.
And Dusty goes, "What are you doing?" And she goes, and then wouldn't answer him.
Because she knew what it was.
Yeah, what are you doing, you
She
little
knew what it
weirdo?
was.
Little
Yeah.
weirdo.
Just licking my baby.
Okay, but your kids don't watch TV that much.
They don't.
Though.
This all
You're
comes
very
from their
controlled.
heart.
It all comes from.
It comes from this, and that's how it was. Like once again, we weren't raised in the era of information. Like so, it's something that's just natural.
Yeah.
Which is
You
more
know?
disturbing.
But our
I think.
kids are not like
I was
that.
attracted to it when I was in preschool. The teacher helper I had a crush on.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's not something that just oh my god, I don't want to.
I just worry now because
You want her
it's
to
like
pull your nipple?
Yeah, I want to
everything.
pull her nipple in my mouth. As a child, that's how I roll. That's
Cat
how
was
I roll.
breastfed too late.
I was breastfed. I'm a breastfed baby, and so was my son. So I gotta watch him. I gotta watch
Do you
that
let your
baby.
daughters be on social media? Or what age are they? I'm assuming now they are 16
Well,
and 19.
the 19-year-old is on social media. 16-year-old is on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
But she's more of like introverted.
Mm-hmm.
She's just cool. She's just real cool.
Yeah.
Like she's not. I'm not sure who or what she's into. Like as far as in that.
She's just a
realm.
stranger that
She's
lives in
a
your
stranger
house.
that lives in my house, and she likes sports stuff and comfy clothes, like
Good
tomboyish.
for her.
Who doesn't,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
That's part of my control with Jack. Is like part of to me is like not letting him. Like his buddies have Snapchat. I'm like,
Oh,
nope.
no.
Nope.
That's
No,
for
sir.
cheating spouses.
Like-
That is the only thing Snapchat is for.
Like you don't get that.
Nope.
So
You're not on
don't
there.
ask. Like
12.
whenever he asks that about Snapchat, I'm like, you might as well ask for like Madison Ashley or something. Like it's
Ashley
no
Madison.
Ashley
Ashley
Madison.
Madison, yeah.
Oh, my
Cassie's
God.
clearly not on. Ashley Addison.
Mashy lashes, mitts.
Boomers.
What else?
ICQ?
Is that like ICQ?
I got AOL
You
Messenger.
sure? I got a disc in my cereal
Yeah.
box the other day for AOL. I didn't know where to put it. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Laptops don't have
those things.
CD drives
Where
anymore.
to put this at?
know where
Nowhere.
this-
Throw
Wait,
it away.
throw it? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Floppy disk?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I do think that plays a role in it. Where I'm like, those types of things are not necessary because I just feel like it's like the gateway.
Nope.
His teacher posted something the other day because we had like remember there was the convert, which I know this is segueing into something else, but I'll try to pull it back. She posted about TikTok.
Yeah.
Because there was like that horrible TikTok like school shooting
Yeah.
threat that kind of went out. Okay.
That went viral.
Yeah. And she made a post and it was like, instead of not sending your kids to school, how about, because of a TikTok threat, how about you just don't let them be on TikTok? And
Oh, blasphemy.
yeah, and I'm like, okay, there's like multiple pieces to that. But I'm like, or it's not so much about the information on TikTok. It's that these kids, it's like their only source of information.
Yeah, there's no filter.
There's no filter. So it's like a babysitter for most parents when it comes to that. And that's how I feel about like the Snapchat thing and things like that. Where I'm like, it took a while. And I made his older cousin, who's in college, set up all of his settings on his Discord for gaming. And I was like, you make it so this is like Fort Knox.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
He can only
Yeah,
talk to
he can
me.
talk to me, and that's it.
And that's on us to do, though.
It is.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's a lot of work. I've said this so many times in
It
the past
is.
2 weeks. Being a parent's only hard if you want to do well at it.
If you, oh, that's a great one.
Oh.
yeah.
Quote that.
Give me
Yeah.
posts on that one.
Okay, let me ask you this. You said you're really vulnerable and you told us you were like really upset when you first found out.
Oh, absolutely.
So did you know at that point, you were like, I'm going to take this experience and I'm going to do differently by this child. Or did you have that depth at that point that you
Were you
do
just like,
now?
fuck, I gotta get
like
through
fuck,
this.
Man, I was like,
survival mode.
I'm gonna be murdered. Like I know better. I thought I knew better. But as a teenager, especially, you think, and all teenagers, it has that invulnerability. Like you hear bad things happening, but it won't happen to me.
Nah, it can happen.
That was the
Yes.
instance where I was like,
Not me and Cassie. but
it can happen to me.
holy shit, it's happening
I'm
to
not
me.
impervious to being a statistic, something that I did not want to be. And it was towards the end of my senior year, and everything was just going fantastic. And then it's with an individual that you're like, why? Now I have to be connected to this individual to the death of me. And people don't understand that scope. And being raised with some great parents in a two-home household, I thought that that's what I needed to do, because you mirror off your parents. But then once again, our generation, and especially the younger generation, just won't accept complacency and unhappiness. So I was like, man. And one of the best advice my dad gave me was, you can be a great father to your child and not have to be in a relationship with that child's mother.
Could you say that
Thank you.
again?
Thank
for
you.
everyone.
Say
You
that
can
Just one
be
more
a great
time.
father to your child, and you do not have to have a relationship in that way with the child's mother. And only the dads who don't really want to be involved won't be involved.
But I think moms need to hear that too, because I think there is so much guilt laced with that.
I have kids with them, so I'm trying to make it work.
I'm trying to make it work, and everybody's
And you have
miserable.
another kid.
And
You have another kid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You
And
got
it's-
a bunch of kids by this dude that you don't see a future with, and it's hard for somebody else to pick up because now it's baggage. Now for a new relationship, I gotta be with you and your 4 or 5 kids.
And think about how much resentment is just, I don't know. You said this one time in a completely different context. You said sometimes people just like being affected, you know?
Yeah.
And sometimes I think that, right.
Thanks.
She's got good words. Yeah.
wording.
But I do believe that where it's like sometimes people are just so complacent with just being miserable. It's like all of a sudden they don't see the resentment that's building.
Absolutely.
They don't see that the kids are just watching all of it.
And
you
it's
know,
trauma.
they're like, oh,
They're so self-centered. They don't
yeah.
realize that other people are watching the same
Yeah.
thing happen to them and learning this is how you do life.
so it's
Absolutely.
like somehow it's like there's this imbalance, and it's like maybe one parent's doing more, or one parent's not involved, or something like that. And instead of just saying, let's just cut ties,
It's just-
like this would be so much healthier for the kids to see
Absolutely.
different version, like a happier
happy,
version.
Right.
healthy,
Yeah.
thriving, and I'm so proud of my old self. I like to commend when I make good decisions as a youth, to not be in that relationship longer than what it was,
Yeah.
a year and a half, compared to other individuals that I know and love who stayed in shitty relationships for far too long, and it damaged them. So then when they bring that type of damage into the new relationships and wonder why they're still single and it doesn't work, is because of the experience they've had with this sucker, you know, that you put too much time and effort into, and now no other relationship works because you're afraid.
That's my mom's story.
Yeah,
I mean-
you just be single
She stayed with my dad. She stayed with Jeff for
far too long.
20 years. And it was doing it for the kids. And, you know, my brother and I were both born before they got married.
Yes.
And then they got married for the kids. And then they had my sister.
For the kids.
And my
Yes.
mom said
Yeah.
the day she brought her home from the hospital, she just cried. And she's like, I'm so sorry to this
tired.
baby.
Yeah.
I'm but she stayed there because she was
Yeah.
brainwashed and, you know,
Yeah.
convinced she did deserve better. And,
Because it beats you down.
uh-huh.
You feel like the only person I can be with is with him.
Well,
Yeah.
and
The
sometimes,
only person
you know what I
that'll
always
deal with
say
me.
is like when you're in, it's like you can't see the forest for the trees. So when you like
Ooh,
go
yeah,
home
I love
and
that
you're
quote.
like in that household, you're in that environment, you're like, how the fuck do I get out of this? I'm
Yep.
stuck,
Yeah.
I'm stuck, I'm stuck. And that becomes your narrative.
Yep.
Yep.
And then sometimes by the grace of God, you can get out of the house and go work, you
Yep.
know? And then it gives you moments of clarity with all these other people
Right.
that are like,
Wait a
hey,
minute.
you're
Yeah.
something. You could do
You're
this.
awesome.
You could do it.
And then you
Yes.
start getting your
Yep.
superpowers.
Yeah, but then you go right back into it.
Yep.
At, you know, 5 o'clock, you check out and you go right back to it.
Yep.
And it's just such a huge cycle. I was always told the red flags that you see at the beginning of the relationship that you're hiding and you're
Man.
sweeping under the rug will still be the ones that you will
Those
leave.
red flags
Those will be the ones that
are
end.
red flags.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won't. At my, somebody, as a joke, one time it was like a red light, and my cousin joked and said, well, it's not going to get any redder. And I think about that with red flags. I'm like, that simple, silly little childhood joke is like, you know, when you see the first red flag,
Believe
like,
it.
what are you doing? You waiting for it
Yeah.
to get more red?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
not going to get any redder.
When someone shows you who they are, believe
Believe
them.
them.
Believe, right?
Absolutely.
Is that my
believe
Angelou?
it.
It is.
You have to
Another
believe it.
wise lady.
Yes.
Oh,
Ugh.
she was the best.
Yeah.
But it's true though, you know, and that's what we see time and time. And then it's the cycle of self-sabotage. You know,
Yeah.
that's real.
Yeah. And most people aren't lucky enough to come across another individual like we have done, where it's like someone's constantly building you up.
Yeah,
We are all allowed to be vulnerable with each other and say, hey, I feel like I'm failing right now. And then you have someone say, okay, maybe, but that's not who you are. That's just
Yes.
what you're doing today. And it's because I think we're afraid to ask for help. We're afraid to be vulnerable. We're afraid to show that like we don't have it all together.
absolutely.
You're afraid of change a lot of times.
Yeah.
People are like,
Yes,
this is
we
what
are.
I've always done. I've always
Yep.
done it this
I got
way.
a best friend who is just like that. I'm like, dude, you have to get out the cycle.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're doing the same. It's the same thing. We had the same conversation. It would be good for a little bit, and things run and hit the fan, and boom, boom, boom,
Right.
you're done. Now I'm a little. It then comes back. All right, I'm working on it. Like, aren't you tired of that cycle that
And
that
sometimes
continues?
their cycle can drain you too from
yeah, 'cause you're
that.
tired of hearing
Because
about
it's like, yeah. So
The other thing I also kind of think about is like sometimes I know that it's such a like hippy dippy phrase of like self love, but like I do believe that probably cyclical because of childhood trauma, childhood shit that happens or something
Yeah.
like that. But sometimes people stay just because it's like they don't think that they deserve anything better.
Yeah.
Most people stay because they don't feel like they
Think,
deserve
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Well, and also when you're in that cycle, you're so exhausted. You're so tired. I mean, I am happy. I love my life. I love my husband. My kids are awesome. I love what I do. I am fucking tired. So I can't even imagine
Started from scratch.
if one of those things was like, I gotta change this. I'd be like, maybe tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I don't know if I know I'm gonna have to dig myself out of that, and I don't think I have the energy.
Yeah.
So I see how it happens.
Absolutely.
But I think like one of the things we always say is being honest with yourself,
first and foremost.
because you can't force someone to change if they're not willing to change for them.
That right
And they will only change for a shorter period of time because they want you to feel good for you and not for them.
Yeah.
And then it's back to old ways.
Because actions
So,
speak.
yeah, it does.
It's the honeymoon phase. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we're sweet.
yeah.
We just had sex, and now we're back together.
And
Yeah.
I always say it's
And
easy.
then the next day,
Yes.
It's easy to be in love on vacation.
Oh
Yes.
God. Well, that's why they talk
Oh,
about
yeah.
you get all the dates
Bachelorette
today.
and Bachelor
Yes.
working.
Yeah.
Because statistically, it is.
Yeah.
Like the endorphins
You're
are
in
through
paradise.
the roof. You're in
All
paradise.
your
Yeah.
meals are
away from the
prepared.
day to day.
You're not
Yeah.
working every day.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't
Exactly.
have all the adversity.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, we love each other. You get back home. I've made a grave mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And- or someone's like, we're going to take a weekend away to just get to know each other again. And I'm like, that's great. You should absolutely do that. And especially do it when you're happy. But it's not going to fix whatever's going wrong in your day-to-day life. That isn't going to do it. Great. Go have a fun weekend with someone that you can enjoy their
Yes.
company. Awesome. Do that for you. But do
Yes.
not trick yourself into thinking
Right.
this is repairing whatever's wrong with your marriage.
No, ma'am. No, and then that's when you lead into what does a healthy relationship look like. I always say, what are you bringing to the table or contributing besides a penis or a vagina? Like if that's all.
If you take that off the table,
If you take that off the table, would you still want to spend time with that person?
I don't know.
Look at that. You might want to rethink some things. Yeah. But it's true. Like
It is.
people have to understand what a relationship is. It has to be a partnership. It's not always the lovey-dovey thing.
No, and you get to into a relationship, and like you, after a while, you have kids, and you have bills, and you have responsibilities, and like
Are they
maybe
reliable?
you're not having sex. So if that's what you've based your relationship on,
It's going to go
What-
downhill fast.
now what? Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what people have to understand of having that conversation. Like we,
Cool, we're great in the sack. Now what?
now what? We have no interest.
Yep.
We don't want to watch my movie. I don't want to watch your movie. We don't want to go out. You're not interested in what I'm interested in. Not saying that's the end all be all, but you want to be like, I'm interested because you're interested.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't like it, but I know you enjoy it.
Well, and when you're passionate about a person, it's easier to at least show interest in things that
Yes.
they are passionate about.
Absolutely.
Dustin went and saw Spider-Man Friday night. He,
Oh, I did too. I
Don't-
went Thursday.
Do not.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen
I ain't
it.
gonna say nothing.
He
Don't
came
But
up
I
spoil
cried
it.
several times. I'm a crier,
you're-
and I'm a nerd.
If you're gonna say anything,
Nope, no
no
spoilers.
No spoilers there.
Oh, we should do a spoiler talk when everybody watching.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll do a whole
we'll
separate.
do a whole, you know it.
Dustin's favorite
Big number.
podcast is called Pop Culture Leftovers.
Oh, I love it.
And the hosts sometimes get to screen things before they come into theater.
Yes.
So he's like, I have to watch it before Sunday when the episode drops, because then I won't get spoiled.
Yeah.
You know.
I went that Thursday night because my brother and my best friend had seen it and they were calling me. And then my best friend was gonna say no spoilers, and he said spoilers. I said,
Ugh,
I'm gonna
bye.
watch it
no, I'm
tonight.
just not talking to you
Yeah.
Yep.
We're not
Suckers.
talking.
But he came up and he's like, hey, would you mind if, would it be a big deal if
You
I
joined
said
me.
you went and saw Spider-Man? He's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, that's fine. I'll get the kids in bed. And he's like, okay, bye.
Yeah, that's how I was. I went solo dolo by
Him too?
myself.
Well, yeah, someone's got to sit on the
I kind
kids.
of want to ask you about that.
Yeah.
I know my husband sometimes he wants me to go with him, and there's movies where like, you know what, just do it. But then he's like, I'm like, ask your brother, ask your dad.
I go by
He's
myself
like,
sometimes.
No.
No, I'll go alone.
He goes alone, and he would go like late.
Yeah.
He goes by himself.
I go by myself. I'm
It's-
sitting
It's
there.
like a.
Dustin has always been like, I will
Yeah.
go.
He rather
I
I
goes
really want to see the
alone.
movie.
Before we had kids, when I'd have like doubleheader parties, he'd go and sit and do doubleheader. He'd stay in the theater all day.
Yeah.
Yes.
And one for his birthday or something. Oh, when I went to Nashville, I took the kids to Nashville for his birthday so we could have a house hotel weekend. It was just him. And he's went and watched 3 movies in one day.
Yeah.
He's like, I stepped
But that's-
out, I got pizza, I came
That's
back.
a healthy relationship. It's
That's
not a
it.
controlling or a
Yeah.
distrust of who you going to the movies with.
Right.
Yes.
Where you at? What you
And
doing?
when he
Yeah.
got home on Friday night, he goes, I said, how was it? He was buzzing. It's midnight. And he's like, me!
I was
Yeah,
Was it
like,
so
Yes.
I'll tell you about it in the morning.
Yeah.
He says,
Exactly.
I really wish you'd been there. I said, oh,
That's
that's nice. He goes,
how
because I'm
Stephen
dying to
be-
talk
yeah.
about it.
Yeah, because I can't talk about it.
Yeah.
because We
Right.
still haven't seen it.
That's how my husband is. It's like when he goes, he's like, "Oh, you should have been there," and it's like, "Well, maybe next time."
Because
Thanks.
my wife
I
like,
enjoyed
wait till you
that.
come.
Yeah.
I enjoyed, and I think sometimes you guys need to go by yourself.
Yeah.
You know,
And it's-
it's
and
it
that's
doesn't
okay.
have to be everything
Every
with
time
us.
it has to be
Yeah.
us.
Just like how I go do stuff with my girls, and
Right.
it's
Yep.
like you need to go do
That's-
stuff with
once again, that's
yourself
not
or your
a-
boys.
Healthy relationship of
Yeah.
if I do something, I have to do it with my wife.
No, we don't
vice
like
versa.
that.
Though,
No,
I mean,
we
think
don't.
about like all 80s and 90s
Yeah.
songs of like, you are my
Together,
everything.
all the
No.
time.
Yes.
No.
Like,
Every
You're
there
my
is
moment.
that.
Yeah,
You're my
yeah.
most stuff, but you're not my
Right.
everything.
Not my
It-
everything.
it-
Right.
It
just dropping. Just can't write it down.
There's my thing is like
Yeah.
I do my
gonna write a
thing
love
and
song.
you do your thing. At the end of the day, we're coming home to each
Each
other.
other.
We're gonna
That's
share
what it
what
is.
we did, and we still love each other.
But again, though, a
But
lot of
again-
people don't have that emotional maturity
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
get to that
That's-
stage.
Well, we're so
That's-
insecure.
Yes.
yeah, and it's like,
Any time away
hey,
from me, who you spend it with?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why don't you spend it every waking moment with me?
so
you're
I know
annoying.
this sounds funny, but
You're
not
I
many
don't like
people
Spider-Man.
understand it. So like Steven, I'd be like, yeah, you need to go see her, you know, and he's like, yeah, I know, she probably nicer. It's like, yeah, or you know, because that's our inside joke. Like, I'm not gonna be. I'm like,
Oh, we do that too.
"Blood."
We pick out girls together.
We pick out.
Listen,
we
when Maya
did.
came to town to perform, I've always had a crush on Maya. I was
No.
in
Yes.
Yeah.
Dustin
Yeah.
too.
backstage taking photos.
Yeah, that's my.
Give me
And it
one
wasn't
chance.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's my.
But I feel like
Your free
Callback.
pass.
That's your hall pass. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's not.
It didn't
We're not. We're not. It's
Next time.
building a healthy relationship of not to be insecure with each other.
Yes.
Because the more you're like, oh, you're worrying, you know, that's wasting your relationship. That's wasting the time. The time you take to worry about, he's with
Get mad
another.
that we're out for drinks.
Yes, or like, oh, he's
Yep.
probably out with a girl. Like, you know, you're mentally,
Yes.
you're just affecting
Exhausting.
it's exhausting.
And if you don't trust your partner,
Exactly.
what are you
With them.
doing?
exactly.
Yes.
What are you doing?
What are you
exactly.
doing?
If you can't trust, and that's once again, this all, the sex, the relationship, all of that pertains to
Trust and intimacy.
trust. It's
So,
Yeah.
do you think it is solely by leading by example? I mean, how do we do better for our kids? Like
You're
that's
asking as a single mom, how do
yeah.
I teach him to be in
You
a
know?
healthy relationship?
And
You're
'cause
teaching him how to have intimacy between the two of you. That's the other thing, is that intimacy and sex are two separate things.
absolutely.
and people do not understand
No.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and
Whatsoever.
like my sister and I are intimate in ways that we are not with our husbands because it's a different kind of relationship.
Yes.
Right.
And we know each other in ways that no other person could ever know us
Yes.
because we're sisters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
And if someone has good, healthy intimacy with their family and with their friends,
it is-
that will translate to a relationship.
I'm so happy that I was brought up in a cocoon of love. I'm very affectionate. Like people always say tat hugs and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
That comes from a place of being in a family where all we do is love on each other. So then, like when I go with my wife, like, I say I love you every time. Yeah.
Every time.
You're so
And-
huggy and lovey dovey.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
When we parted ways after recording yesterday, we probably said "love you" bye
Yeah.
10 times
Yeah.
as we're.
And I get that from my dad. Like,
Yeah.
don't leave the house or off the phone without saying I love you.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it was always hugs and kisses all
You
the
know,
time.
I have a younger brother. He's the baby of the family, and I didn't realize how our family was versus other families until those situations. So Grant was in high school, and like I was dropping him off. I always like took him to school, or he would have been in junior high. Excuse me, I was in high school, and I'm dropping him off. I roll the window down, and I was like, "Bye, I love you," and he turns around and says, "Bye, I love you, Cass," and goes in and blah blah blah. Don't think anything of it.
Yeah.
And then when we like the next day or something like that, like, and his buddies know that his buddy, like, we're all the same way. But he had another rando that was like, "Did you seriously just tell your sister that you love her?"
You love her? Oh my
And
God.
I'm like, or the touchiness. Like, I didn't realize how touchy we are as a family until my mom,
swear.
when you get out like in public and stuff like that,
People like,
and mom's talking to
yes.
someone, and mom's like touching a person's shoulder, and we're like, "Mom,
Don't touch.
don't
yes.
touch
me now.
that."
I have to-
Nowadays,
COVID.
yeah, now
Yeah,
you
you're
can't.
weird, mindful of
Yes,
that. But it's.
it seemed normal. Like,
Yeah.
we're just touchy, huggy people, and then some people aren't.
I've had friends friends and just people like me, like, "Man, where does that come from?" Like, we were never, my parents and family never said, "I love you." We don't hug. We don't do any of that. Oh, that sounds horrible.
Right.
But that's
It
how my
does.
mom grew up, and I didn't realize that. But we were discussing it.
And
She
it's
goes,
weird
"Well,"
for people who's not in that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
but
yeah.
she, because her mom, she said, "My mom never said I love you, but she always said it. My grandma always said it to us, and she said it wasn't until you were born that became a thing that we said all the time."
That's
She's
nuts.
like, "Becoming a grandmother changes someone."
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Because grandparents get on my nerves. As
the
a parent,
rules. Yeah.
oh, they don't listen to us.
Never
It's
allowed
payback.
us to
I
do
just listen to them.
Oh,
Tell me about it.
they
Yeah.
get them. Oh,
I was
true.
I was telling Spencer, my mom showed up at 8:09 this morning. She's been on a train for 24 hours, and the first thing she does is, "I have presents." I'm like,
and it's all stuff
"Stephanie,
you would stop.
Yes.
Our house
Stephanie,
is
my
full of just
mom-
random stuff.
Uh-huh.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is why we call my mom my kid Jody,
Oh.
because it's like roles have reversed. And we're like, "Mom, please don't do
And
that."
she'll
They
never
never
listen to
allowed
this
when they were
episode.
parents to us.
right?"
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Things that would never be tolerated nor entertained
Yes.
Oh, I know.
as a parent to us. They're just, "Oh, just let them." I'm like,
Right.
no. No,
Yeah.
What
baby.
is she eating?
Yeah.
Oh, she's hungry. She needs to eat. She,
I wrote a pen pal letter like in class to a friend, and I said, "I'm sick of this shit." Okay, and I
How old
would.
was Cassie at this point?
At this point, I think I was 12. I think ish. Okay, you know.
I'm sick of this shit too.
Well, it was in my backpack, and Jody, the way that my mother is now is not how she was as a mother. Let's just put that out there.
They-
Okay,
they
so
never are.
so she finds this letter, and you would have you would have thought,
It was it was the worst. Like, it was a
Yes.
I'm going
Porn.
to shoot the school up.
yes,
Yes.
that is how she. I mean, so grounded, so in trouble for writing shit. Okay.
Man.
And I still to this day, it just traumatized me. I was so pissed off about it all because I was like, "It's shit. It's the word shit. You cuss all the time. Whatever." My child now, yes, Jack,
What the fuck is this, Mom?
yes, said some, yeah.
He does.
And my mom
It's great.
just, what's up, Jack? Are you gonna order salmon or
love
what?
the way you spell things.
She doesn't say anything.
Nothing.
Oh, listen to how he enunciates the word
yeah.
fuck. Isn't that sweet?
Yeah, it is.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
yeah. Or like,
Grandparents
oh,
are
he must be
something.
very upset. He said shit and fuck.
My son gets like just random drops off from his grandpa, just snacks, just treats, just random.
Yes.
Here's your snacks.
Hey, go check the
You ran
mailbox
out
for
of
some
some-
Sour Patch Kids
So we
in
just
there
got
for ya.
You're like, Dad, we
a
can pay for
pantry of
groceries.
a corner
Yes.
of snacks.
You know, you should bring us some garden tomatoes. That'd be great.
Vegetables,
Yes.
You bring some fruit sometimes. Yes, but this is but once again the relationship and the intimacy in sex is all about what is taught and not taught in the household.
What is said and
What's
what is
said
unspoken.
and what is unspoken. And we have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable in every situation.
100%. That's where growth happens. And there's nothing we want more than to do better, for our kids to do better than us.
Oh, absolutely.
So we have to do better as parents.
It
And that-
enrages us when they are following the steps of mistakes and we're pleading with them. It's crazy that
So I don't have that experience yet because my kids are little, but like watching my
You will.
little sister
Yeah.
being like, "What the fuck are you doing,
I've
child?"
been through this and they
Uh-huh.
your
Just
kids will
let
not
me do
believe
it.
you.
Nope.
Yeah.
You're
And it's- and
what
it's-
could you know?
Yes,
Idiot.
and it sucks
Fucking
that
boomer.
sometimes you have to jack shit up for you to understand, like, oh, that's what teacher was telling me. I told you.
Yeah, and that is true too. That you don't always save them.
No.
You know,
Yeah.
because that's
Was
unhealthy
it-
We're
too.
experiencing that right now. Yeah.
Natural
you
consequences.
Yeah.
I wasn't like that as a kid. Were you like that?
No.
I
What?
was neither.
The fucking shit up.
Fucking shit up.
I was shy.
Fuck you, I'm not listening to you. I'm
That's
gonna
a
go fuck
whole
shit up.
other episode.
It is. No, I was
Yeah, I
not
wouldn't
that
I was a
way.
little kid.
I was like,
of course
what can I get away with without getting in trouble? And I didn't get in trouble.
Yeah.
And then Maggie comes along, and I'm like, am I that much smarter than you? That I got away with all this shit that you're
And
now
they're just like, I don't get it.
letting
Yeah.
ruin your life?
Yeah, I don't care.
But no, she was.
I was the
She didn't
same.
care.
I'm
She didn't
sorry.
care.
Yeah, she didn't care.
I'm the oldest, though.
Okay.
I was a grown up before my
Listen,
time.
Now
Yeah.
that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
I'm the oldest.
Birth order.
Yeah.
Where are you at?
I'm the oldest.
Yeah.
And you.
But
and you had to go and
yeah,
have
there's
a
more
teenager?
structure.
Yeah, have a
and
baby.
you make the mistakes first. Like my younger brother is solid because he had me and my sister who were like back to back. So he's like, oh, I'm not doing any of that.
Yeah.
I think ours was reversed. I think Jay Lee is the most solid, and then we just kept getting more shystery.
Yep. That's how.
Yeah.
It starts at
Like-
home of how you conduct yourself
Yeah.
when you're out and about.
Yeah.
An entitlement. Of like,
Entitled.
I'm sorry, but
go hop on that soapbox.
yeah, what is
Yeah,
it?
that
Entitlement. Let's
of-
talk about
of-
that.
I do what I want to do, and you just going to have to take it.
Because you're getting
And
paycheck
how
right now.
dare you call me out on it? Don't even think about it. Like the audacity of individuals to believe that and act upon it, you know?
And I have to wonder if, like, are you taking advantage of a person who's being paid minimum wage in a retail situation who's going to be like, whatever, dude? Or is that how you operate all day, every day?
Yeah.
Like, how fucked up are you? Is this a today thing or is this your life?
Yeah, I want to know.
I
Like,
want to know too. So if this is you, please go fuck yourself.
yes, absolutely.
Pretty
And
much.
This is what we deal with, like when I do my DEI training of just being like anti-racist, and people don't understand. It's because once again you're in your bubble. You love your mom and you love your dad and your nana, but you got to see how people interact with people outside your family.
Tell us about this training. What does
Yeah,
that stand
what's
for? And give us some
Diversity,
details.
equity, and inclusion training that I facilitate, and I incorporate like a playlist.
Okay.
So
When and where
music.
do I take this?
Or whenever you want.
No shit.
Yeah.
We come teach it to my team?
Yeah, I'll teach it to whomever has the biggest checks.
Yeah, there you go.
But I incorporate
Checks.
music into the training so we can have a playlist and songs that coincide with the message that we're trying to.
I think that's good. It's easier to learn and retain things when
Yeah.
there's music involved. That's why we sing the ABCs. That's why, you know.
Right.
And then, you know, you get to learn about the artist and why this song was made at that certain time. And, you know, so it covers a
That's
lot.
cool.
Yeah.
How's the reaction been teaching that class?
Should teach that at our retreat.
Oh, I think
Yeah,
so too.
be
it's been
amazing.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's rare that I find an individual who doesn't like music, you know?
Yes.
You make your own playlists and stuff.
Yeah.
For somebody like, I don't listen. I can't even imagine someone saying, I don't like music.
I don't really like music.
I don't really do music.
My God. Yeah.
What is your life?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Music.
but when you get people in there to take that course, I mean, is it people that are already open to that concept, or do you have
Or is
people?
it someone that was like punished and they were sent there because they fucking needed
Well,
it?
I addressed that immediately. Like a lot of the, you know, company organizations who do it, before they can even sign on, this isn't a compliance. Like, I'm not here for compliance, and I don't
Yes.
like to do 6-8 hour trainings for one day, because once again, this is a new day and age, and people's time is valuable.
Yep.
You know, solid 2 hours on him, and then consistency. You know, for
Yeah.
6 to 12 months, or however long it's needed, where it's more digestible, and we can come back. And then when events happen in the world, we can address those within the training and the class.
Yeah, because
Instead
people
of-
aren't going to change those ingrained ideas in
God.
one 2 hour session.
And then it's
or in a
burnt out.
day?
Yeah,
in
those
6,
are-
8 hours, you're not
I
going to
hate
walk
those
away.
type of trainings when it's we're gonna be here for 8 hours, but we got a lunch. We get
Oh, great. So I'm just going to be sleepy for the
yeah,
last
so you're
hour.
automatically coming into it like, ugh,
It's this thing I have to do. Yeah.
You're gonna make me feel bad as a white person for 8 hours.
You're going to hold up a mirror and show me my privilege.
Showing my privilege.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
You know, so I like to take my time, and then for us to, actually digest what needs to be digested. Because once again, when people are in their bubbles and they've been raised a certain way, it's not up until you get out and get diverse. I have a friend in Sullivan. I've been contracted with helping promote Arlington Park in Monticello. And I
Wait.
told her,
Allerton.
Arlington.
Okay. So you
Did I
said
say that?
Arlington.
Oh, did I say it like that? Oh, dang it. I'm sorry.
Start the story over.
I have a friend in Sullivan.
I have a friend in Sullivan. Yeah, start it again.
I'm sitting here like,
Yeah.
wait, do I know?
Yeah, I'm sure we do.
Yeah.
It's true. Sullivan. Yes, in Monticello.
Nope,
With-
I have a friend in Sullivan. Go start over.
Yeah, start the
editing.
story over.
Oh, I have a friend in Sullivan.
Yes.
Well, with the park.
Yeah.
Allerton in Monticello? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
We know that park.
Yeah, very well.
Yeah,
We used to
yeah.
work
We were
there.
there less than a week
We
ago.
were there a week ago.
We love Allerton.
I love you guys. Okay. And then she was asking me, because this was intentional. You have to be purposeful and you have to be intentional when you addressing these type of situations. I said, yeah, no, like going to Monticello is, as a black person, is unsafe. I have friends about, what are you going out there for? And at night.
Yeah.
Like, are you even welcome? Isn't it dangerous? Like these conversations we have today. But that's because it's the lack of representation. And she was like, I'm in this position to bring more diversity and inclusion by addressing that majority white families, And it wasn't until I moved from Monticello and went to school in Chicago, which was a big cultural difference,
Yeah.
that I seen that the small-mindedness or the lack of diversity in my hometown was.
And
You
you
know?
said
Travel, yeah.
you said something earlier about like you have to get out of your bubble. I think we all think we're doing a good job.
We are.
We really think we are.
I think a lot of times small town people are like, oh yeah, I mean, I vacation in Florida, you know,
Yeah.
so I
get out.
I get out.
Yeah.
I deal with people,
Every-
you know.
every
I went to
season,
school with a black
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah,
Right.
my
I
best
love when
friend
they
was a
whisper.
black kid.
No, I love when they whisper the word black.
Yeah.
They say, I know black.
No, you can
people."
say black. He was a black guy, was he not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Was he
let
also
me
a
ask
tall
a question,
guy? Because you
though.
can say tall too.
Because with my background in tourism, there's a lot of conferences that I go to.
Yes.
So some of them are like bank travelers. So it's like, you know, Busey Bank has a person that puts on travel tour
Yes.
things. Okay, well, one of the conferences is African American travel.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of those bus groups and those clientele, actually, Andrea's been to those with me. Okay, but you said that, and you said when people whisper black, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because
there
are you
are-
from Africa?
No, I'm not.
So you're not African American.
No.
You're black.
Yes. I'm a
And
black
that's what
man.
right.
But
and
we
I
don't
think-
know.
We don't know.
So
and
now you're educating
at
our
that
listeners.
event, that was offensive. Like so when someone
Saying
said,
black?
yes, a woman said, she's like, excuse, not to me, but to a gentleman. She said, excuse me. She's like, you are a white man and we are African American. And
Yeah.
so I
Wow.
it is so
Now, old school-
confusing
now, old
because I'm like,
school,
okay, yes,
Yeah, how long ago was that?
It's not that
2018.
long. Yeah, like
Not that long ago.
Old school, not my generation, but the generation before, still go by African American.
which she would be. So she was like
Yes.
relatively our parents' age.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Yes.
But like you said, we don't have any. We're not from Africa.
Well, and some black people are Cuban.
Well,
and
exactly.
some black people
Right.
are, you know.
And it's that's just a conversation. You want to know how to address people. You know.
Yeah.
I tell my students all the time: assume nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like when white people come up like, "Hey, you play basketball?" Because I'm tall and black.
No, I suck
Yeah.
at it actually.
I do suck at it. I have to tell them like, "You watch sports?" No, I don't watch sports. I play. I'm athletic.
Well, one of my best friends is 6'3", and she's like, of course I don't play basketball. I can barely walk a straight line. Like, I'm so clumsy. No, I didn't play
But
basketball.
those are the
Yes,
assume
yeah.
nothing. Or I go to gym. Hey.
Well, and I think that's exactly what that conference taught me. I was like it's not even necessary, I guess, sometimes to like say things. Like I wouldn't say something about like, oh, hey, you white girl, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why do you even have to
I'm
use
not even white.
descriptors?
Yeah.
I'm white. but I'm
Yeah.
white. Yeah.
So I guess that's where I'm kind of like at with all of that, where these type of trainings would be so beneficial,
Yeah.
not just in the professional setting,
No.
In a-
in schools, everywhere.
Assume
Yeah.
Nothing.
And that's like, the new thing right now is teaching people to ask what their pronouns are.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
like, great, your name's Cassie, what are your pronouns? Because you might be like, I like to be called they. But I assume
shows
because
some-
you present very femme,
Yeah,
but there's an assumption there.
it's an assumption.
I'm guessing.
I feel like we shouldn't be like, oh, you're black, you're white. No, we're humans.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're humans. You cut us, we're gonna be
Hey, we're gonna
bleeding
bleed.
blood. It's red.
One of our first episodes,
Yeah.
because I met Andrea the day we recorded our first episode. I'd never met her before. So she's talking, and I was like, "So, what's your first language?" And she's like, "English." I was like,
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah,
"But
we had this
And
conversation.
that's one of those situations.
Yeah,
well, shit."
Dang.
But she has such a strong accent. That's because she's from another fucking country. British people, their first language is English. And
Yes.
So I was like, "Oh, cool."
it's true.
Dang, I bet you like
But she was just like, "English? What do you mean?"
English.
Yes.
Shit. And you speak it beautifully.
You speak English well.
Oh,
I
me
would
too.
hope so.
Yeah, I would fucking have been doing it my whole
By
life.
the way, that coupon is still
The
available.
coupon is still available.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's what the training is about. It's just better relationship building and being more courteous and considerate of each other. People think of DEI training as being, I don't want to do that. But it's more about communication and just acknowledging individuals, being respectful and not being entitled and feel like I'm not changing for anybody. I don't care what you go by.
I think that no matter what business you're in, whatever your place on this planet is, if you're not trying to actively have better, healthier relationships with everybody, like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
And I mean, I say that as a person who's in a relationship business. Cassie's in a relationship, but
Yes.
you're in a relationship business.
Like,
Andrea,
what are you
okay.
doing if you're not trying
Right.
to?
Show me one person that couldn't benefit from that kind of a training. And even someone teaching it. I mean,
Yes.
you clearly have things to learn too.
Yeah, every time.
Every time. You're going to learn from the people you teach.
Absolutely, every single time. And once again, we're talking about relationships, and that's part of your profession. And you have to get outside. If we're sitting at a table and there's a bunch of people that look like myself, and we're coming up with decisions, and our customer base is diverse, we're not making any progress.
Right.
You got to have what we have here.
Yes.
You know, different people and backgrounds and perspectives advances and enhances everything.
Exactly.
Period. You know, so more of that, more having people like, and that's what training is for the boards. Like, how's your board? It's predominantly older white men that has a problem.
Well, right, and that's what I always, even just
There's
like
old
within our
white dudes.
right,
Yeah.
it's the same idea.
for me.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's a problem for
women.
It's a problem for all of us. Yeah.
Y'all making a decision
See,
with
look.
your clientele.
Down with patriarchy.
There you go. You damn right. So that should be. If I walk into an establishment, is all the pictures just little white kids?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
At my house.
At your house. But these aren't even our kids. It's just the pictures that came.
They came with the frame.
Came with a frame.
Just leave them up.
You just
Yeah.
put them up.
We're open
eventually.
diversity here in
I
this
feel more
household.
comfortable. Yeah.
That family got it together. They
They look good.
Aspire to be that family from the frame.
That would be hilarious. You go to my house and just.
What if it's just the guy from Nickelback in all your frames? Cassie's house.
I also have a picture of the Obamas.
That's hilarious.
I'm trying to think where everybody just puts funny pictures up. I'm trying to think at some
That's
point.
hilarious.
You know what? I will say, to be funny, I think it was my dad who did it. It was like the very first time that your mom came over to my sister's house, and I'm pretty sure that it was my dad that put up a picture of the Bushes, like President Bush. And my sister was horrified. And she's like, Barbara, I guarantee saw that picture, and now she thinks we're a certain way.
We're a certain way.
For a certain way.
We're a certain
And
way.
knowing my mom, she's oblivious to it
Oh,
all.
look at these
and
nice
like,
old white people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's
Clean this
Turn
frame
they all
up.
look alike.
Yeah.
Real white dude.
Jack did ask me that time, what is the guy that's in my house?
Chad
You don't
Kroger.
even
Chad Kroger, yeah. Yeah, Jack was like, so do we know him? I was
I would
like,
ask the same thing. What
It's
is
a picture
happening
of
here?
Chad
Yeah.
Kroger holding a photograph.
of a photograph of a photograph.
Yeah.
Do we know this dude? No, we
No,
don't.
No, but
He looks like someone we'd know.
yeah,
Yeah.
he
That's
does.
facts. That is true.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the relationship is all about communication.
It is. I always took in undergrad interpersonal communication, and I was like, this should not just be a marketing, broadcasting, communication degree course. Like
It should be
that,
a course for every.
a life course. Like I just think about the individuals and the techniques and the things. Like still to this day, like I quote John Gottman like every single day. I mean, I just think to myself, like those are the types of things that if we're going to really make required courses, like
Yes.
biology doesn't need to be one.
No.
But I
Philosophy.
think philosophy. Pick
Yeah.
you know, how many of us like took like just stupid classes like bowling, you know,
Yeah.
like stupid
I
things to
didn't
just
get
fill
to
an
take
elective.
bowling.
It was like a list of stupid electives, and I was like, okay. But how much better would it have been beneficial for people to have taken interpersonal
Communication, yes.
classes, so that way you know how to talk to the people that you're working with and living with and dealing with every day.
Yes, absolutely.
Totally.
Yeah,
Oh,
this has been a lot of good stuff.
yes.
As always.
We hit the whole gamut of relationships.
Stay tuned for part 3.
Yes. That's happening here at the beginning of the year.
We're going to have to Photoshop him into all of our stuff as the 5th host.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, we got to come up with a different core 4 we just decided was
Oh.
when all 4 of us are together.
Yeah.
Not you, but Sarah.
Oh.
Well, now if there's going to be 5.
Then we'll just add 5.
Yes.
Yeah.
Think of something crafty.
Okay.
I'll
You always
word.
do.
I'll word it later.
Words it.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're wordy.
I'll get to words in it.
Let's get it.
Yeah.
This has been fantastic. Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks for coming
Thank
on
you.
again.
It's been great.
So
This
fun.
has been great. It's like
Outtakes
therapeutic.
galore. Yeah.
Yes.
Feel that way?
It's
Therapy
always
with a microphone.
Yes, it's a therapeutic like counseling.
I always say when it comes to like our marketing clients, I'm like, when you tell that story, it like reignites a passion into your business.
Yeah.
And I believe that with the podcast, that when
Agreed.
somebody comes on and like you talk about that, you're like, man, even if it's
I needed this.
I needed this.
Yeah.
Even if it's a narrative that you've told of like, okay, you know, like if you said like I'm a teen dad, like even if that's something that you identify with, sometimes when you get into a different situation, you're like, you know, I have a new perspective on
yes,
this too, or there was
absolutely.
more, or hey, since we talked last, this also came up, and I think
Yep.
that's like that with everybody. That like the story we tell ourselves, like it either kind of becomes your power story or it controls you.
Yes.
And that's what our hope is. That sitting in this hot seat,
The hot seat.
sitting in the hot seat, that you're able to like
Country.
do that.
This is Central Illinois.
That Sullivan talk.
That is
Sullivan people. Sullivan people.
Yay! I love it. No, thank you for having me. Part 3 coming soon.
Yeah, stay tuned. This has been an episode of Left at the Door.